right, welcome back to another edition of Chasing Ghosts. This is the video series where I look at those hard to find, those impossible to find comics, those things you just don't see at the store when you go check the wall on New Release Wednesday. These are just tough books that you have to do some hunting for, usually to find one for yourself and secure a copy if you are really looking. A lot of times they're expensive, but not always. But these are just some tough books that just kind of piqued my interest. So I figured let's take a quick look and see how tough these really are to find. Hopefully you like this content as well as all the other things here on the channel. Let me know in the comments. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Continue to tell your friends so we can keep growing the channel. We passed 1,400. We're on our way to 1,500, and I'll do another giveaway once we reach that minor milestone. So let's keep climbing that ladder. And yeah, just let me know what you guys think. Make sure you check out the live shows too on Wednesdays and on Sundays. The chats are always fun and an integral part of the shows. And just come and join the fun, because that's what I'm doing here. Just having fun talking comics, Star Wars, and pop culture. And hopefully you're enjoying it too. Now, if you want to see the selection of books I got for you this week, some of which are some ideas that I got while researching yesterday's video, and others are some recommendations and things that I've gotten through IG, some posts I've seen, and yeah, we'll just see what we got. But if you want to see what the books are, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro. I'll be right back. All right, so as I kind of teased there in the open, some of these came from some recommendations and some friends' picks, but some of these I just kind of stumbled across while doing my research. And the first one being tied to that second print Black Widow that I talked about yesterday. I had mentioned that that was a reused black and white cover for the incentive. Well, I figured, you know what? Let's just take a look at that incentive. This is the Black Widow cover from 2010. This is the one in 25, April 2010. Travel Foreman, pretty cool. I like the background here. Once it's colored in, you can see a little bit more of the cityscape behind her, whereas the black and white, it just looked like just a bunch of random lines. But there is actually a point to those lines, and it's a pretty cool cityscape behind Natasha here. The overall print run on this thing for this issue 1 was a solid 32,000, almost 33,000. So that would make our 1 in 25 incentive roughly about 1,300 copies. Again, these are all estimated numbers. To doing our best guess. These aren't confirmed or concrete information. This is the best we have with what's available. So it's just another tool to try to make those guesses of actually how tough are these to find. How many copies could there potentially be? And then we'll check the census and check the market and see what's out there. And speaking of the census, this one doesn't have that many. This one only has 5 copies graded. Only 398s and 296s. Now, I don't know if the number of graded is because just a lot of people don't care about this book all that much, so they didn't want to submit this, or really there's just not that many in high grade for them to go around and sub it to try to get get this slabbed. I don't know. I don't have one, so I couldn't tell you. But when we check the market on this thing, let's see, how many copies do we got out there right now? We do have 2. There's a pair of copies, and this is a case where they're actually not that expensive. These are ratio and under. $20 and $25. That's not too bad, realistically, if you are interested in this book. And if you want to check what this thing sells for, well, you're in luck. It doesn't sell for much more than that. That's about the price. Look, best offer on $25 and buy it now for $20, both in January. So it's been a little while, been about a month, but still a pretty interesting book. Now, another reason why I chose this book to start us off was because of the next book in this run and the next book that I want to talk about, and that is issue 2 of this series, which is this awesome Stephanie Hans cover. This is a 1 in 20. Again, thanks to the Martian Comic Hunter for pointing this one out. This was in one of his CGC unboxing videos, so go check out his YouTube channel, check out that unboxing, see a lot of cool, tough to find books. I get a lot of ideas from Martian Comic Hunter. I got a lot of ideas from his buddy Triple C. They make recommendations. I got them on my list. And if you just follow their IGs, you see a lot of very interesting and tough books. So if you're into that kind of thing, give them both a follow. Get Triple C one and the Martian Comic Hunter. That said, Here's a post you can see on IG where he showed this, and he got a 9.6 when he got this one graded. This is that 1 in 20 Stephanie Hans. This is not an easy book to find. Definitely not an easy book to find. This came out in May of 2010, so it's just, like I said, the next issue. The print run went down from issue 1 to issue 2 about a third. I mean, there's only 23,000 roughly for this one. So that's going to take our incentive down to, under 1,200. So 1169 is my quick math when you do the 1 in 25 on that. Now, if we want to go and check the CGC census on this one, there's more than the number one, but not many more. There's still only 21 total. We got 898s, 996s, a pair of 94s, and a pair of 92s, and that's all we got. So definitely not a lot in the census. And when we go take a look at the market on this book too, well, we got one. We got a 9.4 out there looking for $300. $300 for a 9.4. And you can see there's 20 watchers. So people are keeping an eye on this thing. This isn't, there's a lot of people seeing what's going to happen with this book. Sometimes that 9.4 may be the best you get. Some of these books are that hard to find where, I mean, yes, you'd love to have a 9.8, but hey, sometimes you just take what you can get. That said, what's the market, had sold in the last 3 months? Well, we had a 9.8 sell, and it sold February 4th for $800. It's a pretty solid sale right there. $800 for a 1 in 20. Again, I dig this cover. I love the red. I love the smoke, the design, the whole thing. I think it's really cool. I kind of wish I had one, but I don't know if I could buy in at these prices yet. But who knows? Maybe I get lucky. Maybe you get lucky. Just keep your eyes open and just keep hunting, and we'll see what happens. Now, next up, we are going to kind of tie in a little bit with another series that I touched upon in yesterday's Forgotten Later printings, and that's Heroes for Hire. Now, the Heroes for Hire, as I mentioned on that 1 second print, there was a whole bunch of incentive covers that they put all in that one. And here, let's take a look at the incentives. This is probably the most popular of those incentives because it's Moon Knight. I mean, Moon Knight is a popular character, especially right now. So this Moon Knight Heroes for Hire is probably the most well-known of these Heroes for Hire incentive variants. This one is a 1 in 15. It came out in April of 2011. So it's a pretty low ratio, all things considered. But this is not a heavily ordered book, so it all kind of evens out. It's only about 21,815 copies is what Comicron had on it. So that would give our incentive about 1,400 or so. So a decent amount available potentially, but who knows for certain how many are out there. Check the census. There's only 12, which is kind of surprising to me. I figured there would be a lot more because, like I said, this one is a pretty known book. I actually have one around here somewhere. It's buried in a box. I was able to find one for a decent price. But of those 12 copies, we've got 898s, 396s, and then there's an 80 just mixed in there randomly. So only a dozen in the census for this particular book. And if you want to go shopping, well, you do have a few options to pick from. As I said, this is the most probably well-known of this run. So a lot of people will try to sell it. They know what they have. So you see here, basically 60 to 75 bucks is kind of a standard price for the raw copy. And, graded could be, grade contingent, could be much more expensive. What's sold on this thing to kind of give you a sense of that market? Well, one got snuck, I think, for 31 bucks. I think 31 bucks is a good deal. Yes, that's double ratio, but again, this is a hot character, pretty cool cover, and I kind of dig it. And that's why I bought one myself. But 31 bucks on 9 bids on February 6th. And then the end of January, you can see 6 bids got one up to $71. So those both are auction sales. So you can see there's still people aware of this book and there's action on them. This isn't a forgotten book that nobody's paying attention to. There's people bidding up this book. Granted, somebody might have snuck that one to get it only at 31 bucks. I haven't looked into it to see maybe if there's a defect or two. Maybe it's only like a fine copy. But that all said, there's still a lot of people looking for this book apart from the few that we do have for sale. So as I said, it's the most well-known of this run. This is issue 5. And then I think they wrapped up the incentive variants with the next issue, issue 6, which just kind of stands out to me because you don't see a lot of Misty Knight covers like this. And I kind of like it. I kind of like that in your face. She's got the gun pointed right at you. It's a pretty striking image. It's pretty cool. And it's one that I haven't come across. And I've been looking. I have been looking. Again, this is only a 1 in 15. This came out in May of 2011. And with an estimated print run of just over 20,000, it's going to give us like 1,300 copies potentially. And when we look in the census, we got two in the census. We got a 9.8 and we got a 9.4, and that's it. And if you want to go shopping for one, well, there's one Out in the UK, there's one up for 75 bucks, and then you got to pay that UK $20 shipping. So you're going to get close to the $100 after you pay, taxes and all that stuff. If you want this one copy, and that's the only one that's out there. And when you look, there's none have been sold. None have been sold in the last couple of months either. So this is a book that you just don't see all that often, regardless how many copies might potentially be there. I know I did 5 and then I did the 6, but we're going to jump back to issue 4 because this is probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite of the run. I dig this Electra cover. I really like it. It's a pretty cool pose. Just something about it. It just kind of captures the eye. Maybe it's the white background helps, push her forward. But this 1 in 15 again, March 2011, pretty cool cover. This one, still about 21,000, 22,000 of the print run. So the incentive's still only in that like 1,100 range. So there's not that many potentially out there. We look in the census, we only got 6 in the census, 4 9/8, a 9.6, and it looks like an 8.5. And those are all that are graded on this particular issue 4. And if you go to the market, because I checked, I was curious, I kind of wanted to get one, but the only one out there is up there for 70 bucks or best offer. And it also has 14 watchers, so people are keeping an eye on this one too. Maybe not as many as the Moon Knight, or that other book before, but 14 is still a solid number of watchers keeping an eye on this thing, and that's the only one right now. But we did have a few sales over the last couple of months, and you can see this thing has gone for as cheap as 22 bucks, even with $20 UK shipping, up to like 60, 70 bucks pretty consistently. But 2 of the sales are in February, 2 are in January. So semi-recent sales on those. Now, sticking with Electra, we're going to go to on my next pick here of a book to check out. And this is the 2014 series of Electra. And this is the Paulo Rivera, I think, is the artist on this one. This is from April 2014. This is the 1 in 50 incentive. Now, you probably know the 1 in 75 that we're going to get to next. But I figured, you know what? Before we get to that, let's also take a look at the 1 in 50 because I'm kind of curious. Just because there's a higher ratio doesn't mean automatically that that's the book to have. Sometimes I like to look around and check the lower ratios too. So even though there may be more of them, I still like to take a look to see, check out the covers. And I kind of like the blue. The blue background with her dropping down into the city is a pretty cool image as well. Now, solid print run on this number 1, almost 50,000 at 47,000. But since it's a 1 in 50, it's still going to have under 1,000 on the incentive, only about 953 when you do that quick kind of math. When we check the census on this particular book, we also only have 11, but 9 9/8s and then a pair of 9/0s. There's 2 9/0s for whatever reason. And when we check the market on this one, what's listed for sale, there's a 9.8, but this is a CBCS 9.8. So I didn't get the population report this week. Probably should have, but there's a 198 out there asking 160 bucks. So 160 bucks for a 9.8 on a 1 in 50 that has potentially under 1,000 copies. That might not be a bad deal, especially with best offer. Might be worth keeping an eye on. I'm not saying go buy it. I'm not recommending anybody go buy. I mean, if you do, congratulations. But I'm just saying, I'll keep an eye on that just to kind of see what happens. But pretty cool on that one. But we want to see what the market does on this thing. It actually also doesn't do that well, like surprisingly. Even though there's not a ton of them, it's under ratio. Look, 30 bucks and 40 bucks, both in January. So under ratio prices on this book. So I guess maybe most people don't like it as much as I do. I'm not saying I love the cover. I'm just saying I kind of like it. I just kind of like it. And I think part of that has to do with everybody's kind of focused in on the next one, which is the 1 in 75 version, the Bill Sienkiewicz version. I'm sure everybody loves this one. This is the one they want with the rain. Yes, this is gorgeous too. This is a gorgeous cover. I get it. But yeah, it doesn't mean you got to ignore the other one. That's all I'm saying. Same month, April 2014. This is the 1 in 75 variant, so it's going to be a little bit tougher. We still got that 47,000 estimated print runs, but the incentive on this one, considering it's a 1 in 75, is only going to be a little over 600 on this one, as opposed to 900 on the other. So keep that in mind as well. These are also estimated numbers, potential, just to kind of ballpark it for you to give you some sense of how hard this might be to find. Because this one actually has a lot more in the census than the 1 in 50. We have 51 graded copies because, again, I think a lot of people are aware of this book. So if they get it, they want to get this thing slabbed. We got 29 8s, 18 9/6s, and then a bunch of others just to round out that 51 in the CGC census. Now, when we see what's on the market for this Bill Sienkiewicz cover, again, it's a gorgeous cover. It is. It ain't cheap. It ain't cheap. 125, $350. There's two out there right now. So 125 to $350 raw for this one. Yeah, not cheap. And when we want to see what it's sold for, well, raw copy sold. Oh, man, somebody got a deal and a half, $58. Uh, I think personally, I think $58 is a deal. I'm in at that price. I'm in for probably ratio on this thing at this point. And then you can see the other ones about $100, 120, which again are over ratio, not too bad. But 58, I think, is a good deal on this one. That was on February 5th. And then the others were February 18th on the 120, and that other $102 sale was way back in December. So it doesn't come up a ton, but there are copies out there. Like I said, you see there's two, but 125 and 350. I don't know if I'm in for that. Now, we're going to jump from Elektra over to another character that I just finally finished watching Punisher Season 2 on Netflix before Netflix dropped it and took it away. And I know the shows are going to come over to Disney Plus in a couple of weeks. I still got to get to the final Netflix show. I got to watch Season 3 of Jessica Jones, and I've watched them all. I just fell behind. It's just with the Netflix shows, I just fell behind. So I'm finally playing catch up. And of course, I decided to do it when they were taking it off of Netflix and then moving it over to Disney Plus. I have both services, but it's just the point. Now I got a couple of weeks. I have to take a time out in the middle of the Jessica Jones Season 3. Just kind of annoying. But that said, let's go over to the Punisher. And we're looking at the Punisher Soviet. This is issue 4 we're going to start with. And I like for this one to give a shout out to the Comic Perspective, Gary. If you're not giving him a follow, check him out on IG. He posts a lot of interesting stuff about comics as well as some tough books. He pointed these out. Again, this is where I learned of this book. This is what I remember first seeing it. So that's why I give credit where I see things and remember where I see things. And yeah, so go take a look, give Gary a look, and check out his IG. I don't think he's done videos in a while. He has a YouTube channel, but I don't know if he's done videos in a while. And I think he also has Twitter. But check him out on IG and see some of the picks that he's had over the years. Some of the stuff he's telling you to keep an eye out for, because some are interesting. Just give him a look-see. Now, that all said, and here, he pointed out these two issues, 4 and 5. And so I'm going to look at both of these, as well as another one that I kind of liked. So this issue 4, we're going to start here. 1 and 25. Came out in February 2020. So these are right in the middle of when the pandemic was starting and things just kind of started going kind of wonky, especially with picking up books and stores being open, things getting printed, not printed. Things got a little weird for a little while. But this 1 in 25 came out in February 2020. So just before lockdowns in most places. The estimated print runs under 20,000. So that's going to make our incentive only about 777, roughly. So not a ton. Not a ton of this one potentially out there. And when you check the census, we got 198. And that is it on this issue 4. Not going to be easy to find this one because I went looking and it came up empty. Couldn't find any out there. I wanted to go look to see what this thing sells for to get an idea. And I came up empty. None have sold either. So Gary wasn't lying when he said this ain't going to be easy to find. And I believe this is Isad Ribic. I dig it. I like the cover. Pretty cool. I mean, Punisher, it's not to say it's easy, but there's a lot of great Punisher covers. And this is one of them that I do like. But that was issue 4 of this series. And again, this is a Max series, so it does have the explicit content, so it's not suitable for kids. So keep that in mind as well. And we're going to go to number 5, which those eyes, like, they just pierce right through you. Just something about the eyes on this one just really draw your eyes to them. But this is issue 5. Came out the next month, March of 2020, right in the middle of right when lockdown was starting. 1 in 25. Print run went down a little bit, I think, or it's kind of stayed about the same with 19,000. So 771 on the incentive. As opposed to 777, potentially 771. So pretty much the same, pretty much even, but slightly down. I guess a hair. What do you want to see? What's in the census on this? There are none. So there's only one of issue 4 in the census. There are none in the census right now. Maybe there's some in the wings getting waited to get graded. Maybe in the backlog of CGC books right now. Maybe there's 1 or 2. Who knows? But for right now, there's none showing in the census as graded. And if you want to go check the market like I did, because I wanted to go see how much I can go spend for get one of these because I like it, there are none out there right now. So I came up empty. You can't go buy it. And then when I wanted to see, well, even if it was out there, how much would it cost on the market? And I saw there was 1 sold. Best offer on $19 out of Germany. Man, I gotta think this is a steal because I don't know. Who knows what you could get for this book? If you're the only game in town, you can really put like an astronomical asking price in this market. This market these days, there really are no rules. I mean, logic would dictate that this shouldn't be that expensive. Then apparently nobody cares about Punisher Soviet, but all it takes is just a couple of people who are interested in a book, and all of a sudden a book can become pretty pricey. Doesn't mean it's going to maintain that value, but that's what FOMO does to people. So just try to be aware of that and try not to get caught up in FOMO, but just keep an eye out for deals. That's where I'm at. That's where I live. I live in the cheap comic hunting here, kind of bargains. And I think this is a bargain. Under ratio for this book, I definitely think it's a bargain because this thing ain't easy to begin with. But those were the two that Gary pointed out. So 4 and 5 are definitely things to keep on your radar. It's a 6-issue series, so it goes up to 6. But the one I kind of like too of the covers was 3. So that's what I'm going to throw in here as my last one. So this Punisher Soviet issue 3, you close in on the logo that's going to be no longer, as they're revamping it with the new redesign and the new, I guess, direction, I guess, for Frank Castle with this whole samurai in the hand, I guess. But issue 3, pretty cool. You got the star, you got the sickle. Interesting. It's definitely interesting, especially, I know, again, this is a Punisher Soviet book, so I get it. Right now, this might not be the most popular topic of the day with what's going on in the world, but these are comics. I kind of put that stuff to the side. I'm just talking about comics here, folks. So 1 in 25 on this one. This one came out in January of 2020, so this was before the other ones, because again, this is issue 3, so it came out just before the other two. Just over 20,000 before it ticked down, and that makes the incentive just over 800 out of 811 potential copies. But this one also has no copies in the census that I could find. However, when I did go shopping and go, browsing the interwebs to see if there was a copy to secure, there were 2 copies, and I really did consider buying the one because it's $12. Well, actually, either $12 or best offer or $20. I might still consider it, or somebody's probably going to beat me to it, and then I'm going to be out of luck. But I don't know. I just kind of like it, like I said. And for under ratio, I'm definitely considering it. Maybe I'll have to buy it before I release the video. Sorry. Just saying. This is what I found. And if you want to see what this thing sells for, well, unfortunately, there were no sales over the last 3 months to gauge the market, but that's where the market is right now, under ratio. So keep that in mind. For this book, it's not going to be easy to find. Those are only 2 out there, and I maybe might try to buy the 1. But so what do we got? When we put this all together and we look at how many copies are all out there for this selection of books, again, this is just a moment in time, folks. I mean, this could change if we were to do this next week. But this week, as I'm looking at these books right now, unfortunately for these 4, we're going to call these 4 hard to find because there's at least 2 to 3 copies of all of them. I think there were 2 of the Black Widows. I think there were 3 of the Moon Knight cover, and then 2 of the Elektra and 2 of that Punisher Soviet number 3. At least for now. Had I bought the one before we did it, then maybe I could have bumped it up, but that would have been fair. That would have been cool. So right now we'll call these 4 hard to find. But given that the rest of this selection of books, these other 6 books, these we can call, I think, ghosts because there are either 1 or none. Like those Punisher books got none, and the rest of them, I believe, all just had a single copy available. So I feel comfortable with that call. Maybe I have to go down to no copies available to make things ghosts, but I don't know. Again, does it really matter? Like getting this criteria of calling it a ghost doesn't make the book any more valuable. They're all hard to find. They're all sought after because there's not a lot. Is there a huge difference between 1 copy and 3 copies? No, not really, but it is what it is. I just like looking at these oddball things, these hard to find books, and just kind of digging in and taking a look at it. And then I'm just sharing the info with you. You do with the info what you want to do. If you want to go buy this stuff, go ahead. If you don't, you're just curious like me. You just like being a looky-loo like I do. And I just look at these expensive books and go, that's interesting. I'm not buying it, but that's pretty cool. Have at it. I don't know. Comics should be fun. So you hobby how you want to hobby. But as I said, those are my ghosts for this week. Hopefully, you enjoyed that. Tell me what you think. Agree, disagree. Again, check out all the folks I told you to go check out their IGs and give them a look. Check out their YouTube channels. I got, I think, Triple C's and the Martian Comic Hunters links down below on this video. So check it out. Go give them a look and see some of the books that they are unboxing. again, thanks for stopping by and checking this stuff out. I'm still having fun doing this. Hopefully, you're still having fun watching this stuff. Let me know in the comments, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Let's keep growing the channel. Tell your friends. Yeah, and come back tomorrow and check out the tax show. We got some more fun stuff. I think we're gonna be talking about Batman since Batman's coming out this week, and our buddy Corbin might have seen it already. Might give us a little bit of a spoiler-free review. So keep that in mind and come check us out. And with that, I will see you guys later with some more content.